Founder and CEO, Mastermind LLP, he has worked over 17 years with business owners and consultants to help them expand their reach, income, and impact. BNI Business Network expanded from 0 to 10,000 members in 28 locations under his leadership. The enterprises he has run and grown in include manufacturing, trading, and service. Experiential and empirical evidence underpins every one of his teaching. There are currently more than 1.7 million entrepreneurs that have benefited from his service on the Genius U platform. Now that's what you call success, isn't it? According to People Hum, he is one of the top 200 global thought leaders on LinkedIn to watch in 2021. Neeraj is a seasoned angel investor who had made several successful exits. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Neeraj Shah.
Good afternoon, everyone. How many of you would like to generate more business? Quick show of hands. Okay, very good. How many of you would like to get more profitable business? Very good. And how many of you would like to get high value business? Okay, some people putting up 2 hands. Okay, perfect. While everyone has been talking about financing you, no one's been talking about generating more business. So I thought I would come and share with you how you can generate more business. Now, before I do that, I want to just share a particular story. Is this working? Okay, while they're helping me with this, I want to share a specific story of a particular member who's a member here at Tajurba. His name is Ajit. And Ajit is in the signage business. And for a number of years, he had not been operating his signage business. And on top of that, he had not been active on LinkedIn for many years. Using a simple 5-step formula, he was able to get a connection which has been now generating 5 lakhs of business for him every month. How many of you would like to know what that 5-step strategy? Okay, awesome. So we're in the right place. But before I ask you that, what's your biggest marketing challenge? And if you're like any other business out there, it's very likely going to be generating quality and quantity of leads. This was a survey done by HubSpot, which showed that 65% of businesses were looking at getting more leads or traffic. That was the big challenge that they faced. So I want to look at specifically how we can help you do that. And on top of that, sorry, if you can, yeah. If you guys are already on LinkedIn, you can connect with me. If you already have the app, then just take a photo of this. You should be able to then scan the QR code and connect with me. Next slide, please. So let me talk about the untapped business opportunity that is there on LinkedIn. Next slide, please. Next slide. So how do most people go about generating more business? They go about maybe word of mouth. They may be looking at advertising in magazines, newspapers, taking part in exhibitions. Maybe they might be looking at billboards or search engines on Google. These are many ways. But next, all of these things have one common in place, which is they're relying very much on a traditional sales funnel. They're hoping that people get to see them at the exhibition or see that ad. They become aware of who they are. They show some interest. They engage with that person, and there'll be some intent. and then it leads to a sales conversation. But things have changed. How have things changed? Social media has changed everything. Now, in the last 2 years, because of COVID, there's been a huge growth of social media. Next slide, please. You can see, on average, there are 4.5 billion people on social media, on the internet, using internet, and the number of social media users is growing massively. Over just the last year, we've added something like 400 million social media users around the world. So the average person is spending about 2.27 hours in a day on social media. So you are on social media, your customers are on social media. If you're not going to be active on social media, then you are going to lose out. There is no doubt about that. Next slide, please. So this is the traditional, now this is the new funnel, not the traditional funnel, it's the social selling funnel. And while there may be a lot of things here, what I want to do is break this down into 5 very easy, simple steps that Ajit ended up taking. Next. So first things first, why LinkedIn? Because you have many other social media platforms. Next slide, please. There are nearly 800 million users on LinkedIn now, okay? 4 out of 5 of those users are decision makers, and anyone in business would like to connect with a decision maker. You don't want to connect with someone who's not a decision maker, okay? What else? The average user on LinkedIn has a salary of $75,000 or earning of $75,000 per year. So that means you have decision makers as well as these people being high income earners, which is a great combination to have. Finally, there's great organic reach, and you don't have to end up paying LinkedIn for that. It's much better than Facebook or anywhere else. And finally, who owns LinkedIn? LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft. Do you know how much Microsoft ended up buying LinkedIn for? Any idea? Okay, for those of you who don't know, okay, $26 billion only, okay? Why did they end up spending so much on LinkedIn? Simple, one simple thing. It is a hyper-targeted business database. It is the #1 business database in the world. So I'm going to show you how you can end up using it. Next slide. Just go one more. Okay. So a common misunderstanding is that LinkedIn is only for B2B sellers. It's not. While it's effective for B2B, definitely, you can see the stat there, 93% say it's effective. 51% of B2C companies have generated business using LinkedIn. So it works for both. Next slide. There are 5 simple steps that we will take. We need to first position ourselves correctly in the right way. Number 2, we need to know how to find the right prospects using this hyper-targeted database. Number 3, like how many of you have been networking throughout the day today? Okay, what's the first question that you end up asking a new person? You must have asked it at least a couple of times today, or someone must have asked you. What was it? What do you do? Okay, if you don't know how to ask that particular question in the right way and answer it in the right way, you're not going to be able to make networking work for you. So we show you how to connect to people in the right way. We show you how to engage with people and then convert. So let's take you through these steps in more detail. Now, imagine you show up like this on LinkedIn. You don't have a photo, you don't have a profile banner, it doesn't say what you do. Imagine you show up to this conference in your t-shirt and shorts. How is that going to work? Probably not going to work for you. You're not going to be taken seriously. So next slide. So imagine if you are dressed to impress the right kind of customers, the ideal kind of customers. And there are many different things that you can do to make sure that you are positioned in the right way. There are about 18 different things that you can do immediately on LinkedIn. But even if you are not going to be active on LinkedIn, I want to share 3 reasons why at least you should have a perfectly optimized LinkedIn profile. Next slide. Number 1, how many of you have ever Googled yourself, put your name into Google? Quick show of hands. Everyone, probably, okay? So now the question is, what shows up? If you are active on LinkedIn, or at least have a LinkedIn profile, okay, the number 1 thing that will show up for majority of you, try it, will be your LinkedIn profile. So if you want to be taken seriously, it will in fact show up even above your website. So it is completely optimized for Google. Number 2, do you know that LinkedIn itself is a search engine? Everyone knows Google to be the number 1 search engine, but there are 6.7 billion searches being done on LinkedIn alone every year. The question is, are you showing up in any of those searches? If you're not, your competitors are getting the business. And finally, last one, you can see when people are researching buyers, they will look at your LinkedIn profile. You can see 67% of B2B buyers will check out your LinkedIn profile. Next slide, please. So I want to give you one quick tip. The quickest way to optimize your profile, make sure that you have a good profile headshot. There's no one else but you, okay? It's your face covering 60% of the circle. You should be having a neutral background, no logos or anything at the back, okay? How would you be dressed if you were meeting your best client? Dress up in that particular way, and very important, smile. Why? Because this is the first thing that they're going to see about you. Now imagine if you have this, 21 times more profile views you will have, just by that one thing. 9 times more connection requests, and you will get 36 times more messages. So that one little thing can help you do that. Next slide, please. Now, when we've helped people get their profile up right, the great thing about LinkedIn is it gives you a lot of data. You can immediately see how many more profile views you've got, who visited your profile, even on the free version of LinkedIn. We did this for this particular gentleman, Trevor, and he had a 400% increase in his profile views in just 2 weeks. When we helped Amit position himself correctly, he decided to go from being a distributor of premium lighting products to a manufacturer, and using that, he was able to get 19 new distributors across the country, and this has generated over 7.5 crores of business for him. Next slide. So now let's come to prospecting. Once you have your positioning right, you are set for business. Now, why don't you begin to proactively get the right people to see your profile? How can you do that? First, you need to know how to find them on LinkedIn. Next slide, please. So, did you know that it is the world's biggest business directory? And not only that, there are some 8 different filters upon which you can begin to filter people with, right down from specific industry, location, size of company, location, all sorts of things. Next slide, please. So you can't see it very well here, but you would be able to see the different things, and this is available on the free version. You can really specifically, I would say, the key thing that I want you to take away here, you can find a needle in a haystack using LinkedIn. Whenever we're networking, finding the right people is the most important thing. Then putting ourselves in front of them is the second, okay? So LinkedIn helps you do that. Next slide. Not only is it the biggest business directory, it is also a networking event which is going on 24/7. Okay, so how are the ways in which you can end up networking? Just like we have been networking here with a couple of hundred people, imagine having an opportunity to network with a global audience of 800 people. The other thing I want you to understand is that after the US, who do you think has the biggest user base? Any idea? India, with 71 million users. So 71 million users in India. So I don't care whether you're looking for overseas or you're looking for local, LinkedIn works. Next. So how can you end up networking? Okay, these are just some ways in which you can network. Even if you're not going to post a single post on LinkedIn, you can end up commenting on people's posts. You can begin to visit their profile. You can read what they're all interested in, what their experience is, what kind of customers they deal with. You can directly message people that are in your first degree connections. You can put a comment on their post. These are very simple, easy ways to network. Think of putting a post like, like people here were meeting each other and there was an exhibition going on and you went to one of those booths and saying, hey, hi, tell me more about your product. So it's something like that. So if you can visit someone's profile and then send them a little connection request saying, hey, I found your profile very interesting. I think there's some business which we can mutually do. I'd love to connect. Isn't that an easy way to connect? Okay? And this works really well for shy networkers, introverted networkers, who don't like big crowds and would like to talk to people on a one-to-one basis. Next slide, please. So if you send a simple personalized connection request, that, I was searching for people from this particular industry, your name came up, I had a look at your profile, it looked very interesting, I'd love to connect, okay? Simple, keep it simple. You will get a lot of people responding back. You can send 100 connection requests every single week for free, okay? Imagine if 50 to 60 people were accepting your connection requests. You could add 200 people in a month. You could add 2,000 plus people in a year, okay? So just by doing these little simple things, you can begin to get it done. Okay, now let's come to how can you engage people further, because once you've said a hello, if you can continue the conversation and do so frequently, this is how people will begin to remember you, know who you are, and when they think of your product or service, if they think of you first, you won. It doesn't matter how much your competitor is spending, okay? If they remember you first, you won, okay? So let's look at some ways in which we can do that. Now, if you begin to engage with people, that is good. Why? Because people are going to do a lot of research before they buy. And engaging with you is one of the ways in which they'll be able to do research. You can see 75% of B2B buyers and 84% of senior people will look at social media before making their purchase decisions. Next, please. 50% of LinkedIn members report they're likely to buy from a company they've engaged with on LinkedIn. That's half the users. That's incredible. Next. Okay. Now, the easiest way you can stand out is put posts. I had not been posting regularly on LinkedIn, and last year I decided I was going to get very serious about posting on LinkedIn. I had seen someone who had put a post how they had got up to 1 million views over the year. So I said, okay, that sounds like a good goal to have. It's the beginning of the year, let's set a goal. So I set a goal, and by October of last year, we crossed the 1 million views. How did that happen? Thank you. How did that happen? By simply having a very clear strategy on posting. You just need to know who is your ideal customer. What do they care about? What are some of their key pains? And if you can just do simple posts which share your expertise, okay, you can begin to connect with them. You can do so by leaving thoughtful comments, even if you're not creating posts. Ajit does not create many posts, but he leaves thoughtful comments and he uses direct messaging, okay? Just like by using those two things, he's made sure that he's been able to generate that level of business. Next slide. Okay. Now, not only that, if you put a post, this was a post that I put, this is a report I'm getting from LinkedIn. Who's seen my post? Which companies do they work in? Which location are they based in? You know, what's their specific job title? Imagine getting that. Even on Facebook, you can't get this sort of information. Only on LinkedIn, you can get this sort of information. So now I can see that these are the kind of people I want to connect to. I can begin to reach out even to those specific companies. I can even see who's visited my profile and then reach out to them. Because why not reach out to someone who's interested in you instead of trying to talk to a stranger, right? It's much easier. And this is how things begin to happen. Next slide. This was a post, just one simple post, which was a document post, which had about 6-7 slides, okay? Got some 75,000 views, okay? I did not pay LinkedIn to boost the post or anything like that. Simply knowing what my end customers want, the problems that they face, and giving them a solution, help them do that. Next post. Like we're having an event here today, I put up a LinkedIn event. You can have a LinkedIn event. In fact, some of you I've already connected on LinkedIn because you registered for the Tajurba event today on LinkedIn. And that's how I knew. So I could begin networking with people even before I came here. Likewise, even if you're not organizing your own events, you're attending other people's events and you are finding people who could be potential customers for you, you could easily connect with them. In this particular case, there were about 400 people that I was able to connect to. Next. So you can see these were then people who ended up registering for a particular Zoom event, and these were all the emails I got. So I not only got their names, but I also got their email IDs, phone numbers, company, title, all of those things. So isn't that valuable data? Next. Okay, now you don't have to post your own content. You don't even have to be a great copywriter. One of my clients who's in financial services said, you know, there was a post that my own client put, which I thought was amazing, okay? I said, put the post, give credit, tag that person saying, you know, I got this post from this person. Just before Diwali, she posted this. She had 6,54,000 views. Isn't that amazing? Within 1 week. And on top of that, you can see there on the red, some 1,877 people viewed her profile. Just one simple post ended up rocketing the number of people that were visiting. Okay? So simple little things can help you do that. Next slide, please. Next, yeah. Now, if you combine LinkedIn together with email, okay, then you have a deadly combination. Why? Because LinkedIn people may be checking a couple of times a week, couple of times a month. How many of you have checked email at least multiple times today? Like, honestly, like most of you would have, okay? And if you work with large corporates, all of their work is done mainly through email. Okay, so they will end up checking their inbox 15 to 20 times a day. So if you can get onto the LinkedIn feed, you can get into their inbox, then together with that, you have a multi-channel approach to being top of mind, sharing value, and converting clients. And this is how this simple 5 steps can help you generate more clients. Next. So we've seen Ajit there, Dipti is another client, and with one single message, we showed her how she was able to generate 18 phone calls. From 18 phone calls, she was able to generate 3 clients, which generated $30,000 all in one day. One simple message, like a WhatsApp message, but sent through the LinkedIn messaging system. So if you know how to use it, super powerful. Next. Okay, for all of you, if you want to take a little snapshot of that, okay, there's a free gift, at least one free thing I want to give you. Optimize your LinkedIn profile. There are 8 specific things I show you in this with screenshots. You will be able to immediately act upon it. I promise you, within half an hour, you will be able to immediately make your LinkedIn profile so much better. If you want to reach out to me, you can connect with me there. I'll leave you with one final thing. How many of you would like to get lucky? Okay, so let me share with you the formula for luck. Okay, L-U-C-K. Okay, first thing, make sure you're in the right place at the right time. L is all about location. All of you have turned up today and you're in the right place. Okay, you, understanding. Understand who you are talking to is the right person, okay? Because you can be in front of the right person. If you don't understand the opportunity in front of you, you'll still miss out, okay? C, make sure you've got great connections. And by you turning up here, you've expanded your connection base. You've deepened connections with existing people, okay? And K, knowledge. You've got to have the right knowledge. As Swamiji said earlier, be a lifelong learner. In this day and age, it's not, the people who are the fastest will win. The people who are the fastest to learn. And Tajurba, what does it say? One of the key things is it's a learning platform as well. So I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you for attending here. Thank you so much, Parag and Sureshji, for this opportunity. Give yourselves a big hand. Thank you.